Hello, 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 YouTube! My name is rhianaB, and welcome back to my RuPaul Drag Race reviews, and this time, we're tackling Season 14, baby. I know that there has been a lot of international drag race all over the world, but I mostly only stick to American drag race, mostly just because it's more easier access for me to go through. So I'm very excited for good old regular RuPaul Drag Race to be back on my TVs, especially since I know one of the queens this season. So there's no doubt that there has been amazing Midwest representation the last few years of Drag Race. Obviously, Crystal Method back in season 12, I was very excited to see her there. You had Widow Von Du, you had Heidi in Closet, other queens as well. It's so cool to see all these, more southern, Midwestern queens making their staple onto RuPaul's Drag Race. And this season is no different. We have two Midwest queens, and in particular, my personal fave is Miss Daya Betty. I have known Daya for a number of years now. She was usually in the same shows as Crystal Method was, since they are part of the same drag family. So I've known Daya for a few years now. I've met her on a number of occasions. She is so sweet, and she's a lot of fun, and she is fierce when you see her in person. She is tall. She wasn't kidding in her promo interviews when she said she was like 7 or 8 feet tall. She is tall. And I am tall, I'm above average height for a girl, and she towers over me. And her face is usually always on point. I tried to do my best with Daya's makeup today. I hope it looks fine. Daya, if you're watching this, I did my best. I've never done your makeup before, but I wanted to give homage to a local drag superstar, and to have more Missouri, especially Springfield, queens represented is amazing. Now, if we can get Dagan, Michelle, and Lux on the show, and plus maybe some others, I think we'll have a lot of fun. But anyway, let us get to this season. We have 14 new queens. And, like usual, there has to be a little bit of a dynamic opener for the RuPaul Drag Race premiere. So we have 2 premieres to cover. Now, I am not going to do this in a very stereotypical way. I literally just want to go through the promo looks, the entry looks, the talent shows, and the final runways, plus the lip syncs of the bottom 2. I really kind of just want to put all this in a nutshell. I don't want to make this too terribly long. So let us get to looking at our queens. I'm going to be looking over here. I've got the pictures all pulled up. So first off, let's start with the promo looks. So first off, we have Miss Alyssa Hunter from Puerto Rico, and I like this. If we're going on the theme of like candy and whimsical and fun, this is very fun, very colorful, very candy-esque. So I think she met the job right. There is a lot going on. I don't know if she needed the, almost like the waist buckles on the legs, but I guess it kind of adds a different dimension. But besides that, it looks fabulous. She looks great, so I can't wait to see what she brings, and also how much of her drag expertise outside of the show will come into RuPaul's Drag Race. Next up is Bosco. Bosco, I think, is gonna be a great mix of fashion, just by looking at all that she provided this season already. So first off, I like this. It is very simplistic. I don't know if I necessarily get like a candy vibe from the look, but I do like it. It's simplistic. I love just mostly red, except for the dress itself. I love the weird hand, bracelet, slave gloves, I guess you can call it. I'm not too sure. But they're really, really cool. I really like it, and I think she's going to bring fashion, and I do think she's going to bring a lot to the other challenges as well. I feel like she's very well-rounded. She has prepared to be on this show, so I am interested to see from Miss Bosco. Next up is Joon, Jambalaya, which I kind of really love that name. It kind of just rolls off the tongue, Joon Jambalaya. But I love this. This is pure, pageantry drag at its finest. I love the earrings with the fabric through. It just makes her, take up the entire shot. It looks like she is just taking all the space in that photo with those awesome fabric waves. And the dress is really cool too. Normally these are colors that kind of clash together, or it's very like campy, kitschy, neon type of a thing, but I like it. It really, really works. She has got curves and swerves, and I really enjoy that. Next up, one of our transgender queens this season, Miss Carrie Colby. Obviously, she is going to be face, and body this season. I think she's gonna have a lot of great looks. She knows how to style her face. She knows how to style her bod. She embraces who she is, and I live for that. I just kind of hope she doesn't fall into the whole don't rely on that body type of thing. But honestly, if you've got a body like she does, you might as well just like flaunt it, because you have it, use it. She's obviously gorgeous, so I want to see what else she can do besides bringing the pretty and the fashion. Next up, our other transgender representation this year, Miss Cornbread, the snack jetée. Now, I have heard of Cornbread, and I know how big she is in the LA scene, so I'm very excited to see her on this season. I enjoy this look. I love the hair. It's very like astrology, Taurus, kind of a thing. I'm into that. The little random ball in the center, it almost makes it look almost like anime-ish, I want to say. I think it is a little weird that peplum is there, but I would say if it weren't there, it would make it look very like heavy on top and very like triangular on toward the bottom, which is not always flattering. I know I have an inverted triangle figure. So I think she worked with it really well. I love the colors. I love how that nude illusion just melts into her skin. It just like looks so perfect. And I love the primary colors. So I like this look. Next up is Orion Story. And I don't know how I feel about this. I personally think the shape of the dress is great. I don't like the color. I kind of wish it were maybe more, if you're gonna stick with like a warm tone color, maybe a red, maybe a maroon. I probably would even enjoy a yellow over this weird kind of brown, Gottmik, I think at one point said like kind of vaginal type of a vibe. I'm not sure if I'm into it, but you know, and also she has a very simplistic face, So it's very interesting. Not quite, not hitting me in the right ways as it should, but I think she is a very beautiful girl. Next up, Willow Pill, who is part of Evie Oddly's drag family, which is very, very big shoes to fill. But so far, I'm really liking Willow. I really like the self-deprecating humor. I think that's going to give her a certain edge over some of the other girls, which I think is going to be amazing. I honestly have to say this is probably my favorite like promo look. I love this. This is very video game. It's cute, but it's fun. I love the splashes of pink throughout her makeup and hair, but everything else is basically yellow and blue. I love the stockings. I love that. And that hat, I'm a sucker for hats, if you can't tell. I love this. So much fun. This is probably my favorite promo look. So those were the episode 1 girls. Now, quickly, let us go through the entrance looks for the first premiere. First to enter the workroom, we have Miss Alyssa Hunter. I like this look. I do. I love that hair on her. I love that kind of like real teased and like brunette and blonde mix. I think it works with her skin tone very, very well. Her highlight is very bright. I would kind of want her to dumb that down a tiny bit, especially since a lot of TV cameras, they like beat down on your face. They're gonna make your highlight 10 times brighter, so I think she needs to tone down on the highlight a little bit. But I love the look. It is a little monotone as far as color is concerned. It's a lot of browns, a lot of tans, which I think look great on her, but I kind of think you need to add extra color besides the little splashes of turquoise to make sure it doesn't like fall completely flat. Because right now she is looking a lot just like kind of one-dimensional with the skin tone, skin color, and everything. So next up is Bosco. This is fun. This is interesting. It's almost androgynous, kind of like It's like a mix between androgynous and like pinup for me. I love the eyebrow shape. It's almost like how Dusty Ray Bottoms did the dots. I like how it's a different take on the classic drag makeup look. The polka dots look great. The horns make it extra interesting. And it's like a complete arm length dress plus the gloves. It's just very like avant-garde. I don't know. I'm very intrigued by this. It's a lot of different play on drag, and I'm very interested by that. Next up is Miss Cornbread. This is cool. Honestly, if I could wear that dress, I would love to wear that dress. I'm a sucker for leather, like badass, like rocker chick kind of vibe. I get that from this. It's feminized, and I like that though. It's not too like heavy punk scene. And the hair is interesting. I feel like Cornbread's gonna bring a lot of like different hair looks. And that's something that's kind of interesting because sometimes wigs can be a little boring if you don't know what you're doing. But I really enjoy the weird like little, almost looks like piping coming out of the bun on her head. Very cute. I'm excited to see what she's gonna bring because sometimes when you're a bigger girl, there's different expectation with you doing your fashion because you have a lack of a better term, you have a lot more to work with. But I'm excited to see the fashion she brings because Willow Pill is next. Part of me loves this, but also part of me hates this. First off, you're wearing a high platform sandal? Like, But I think everything else is like so on the nose when it comes to like LA, like 16-year-old girls walking down Rodeo or that type of a vibe. And I think she gets the joke. And that's why I'm kind of forgiving on the sandals because it completely fits. But it's a choice.
Choices.
Plus the fact that her shirt says Angle, not Angel. It is just, I think I just love it because it is obviously a joke. It's meant to not be taken seriously. It's meant to be fun. And if that is Willow's drag, I am all in. Here we have Carrie Colby. I mean, obviously, she is walking in telling you all, I am trans. I am a proud trans woman here on Drag Race. I love that. The makeup, the hair. Bitch knows how to do her face and knows how to do her hair. Love that. I'm a little iffy when it comes to the shoulder piece. I do think it adds something to the look that it would otherwise look very pedestrian, but I don't know. I feel like I would have done those shoulder loops a little bit smaller. Why not make it a cascade down the arm to match the rest of the cape look that it's giving? But I mean, you cannot clock that the girl looks gorgeous. She is just beautiful, like absolutely stunning. So it's almost like Kylie Sonique Love type of vibe, where you kind of forgive most things that she does that you think are a little off because she looks so damn gorgeous. Hopefully that won't distract too much because we are in a competition. But I'm already loving the vibe I'm getting from Miss Carrie Colby. Next up, Joon Jambalaya. Girl, that's a no. That is a no. I do think the hair and the face look great. However, why in the hell would you wear something that's gonna that much exaggerate your broad shoulders? I am an inverted triangle. I have big broad shoulders. I know that there are certain silhouettes and certain tops and things like that you cannot wear because it's gonna make your shoulders look even bigger. The fact that it is just like up to here, a long sleeve, and the jumper she's got on top, it's so low on the bod that it's not cutting the broadness that is that peach tone colored top. It's just making her shoulders look so big, and all I want to do is rip that shirt right off of her or give her a jacket with like maybe some like spikes on the shoulder. Because if you're gonna showcase that you have broad shoulders, you need to really exaggerate it. If not, it looks like you're just wearing a shirt to make your shoulders look big. So I just do not like this look. Her face looks great. Everything from the shoulders up look great. But that look, And I mean, that is, you could say Willow's is pedestrian. No, that is pedestrian without it being intentional. Next up, Orion Story. It's cute. I don't get the hamburger phone. I think, because this looks very like burlesque pinup type of a vibe, that I don't understand why you need to like add some like camp to it by adding a hamburger phone. I think she should have just maybe done like an old-fashioned 1930s or 1950s rotary phone type of a vibe, not that. But the fact that she said she made this look, not too shabby. She knows obviously how to shape her body. She obviously knows references, because this is, again, very pinup, but I don't know if she understands that you can't just throw a prop on and people to assume that they're gonna make it seem like it's almost like camp. It doesn't look camp, unless you're gonna count like the boobs that have like semi-visible nipples. I don't know. I'm very hit or miss with it. Again, looks gorgeous. All these girls look gorgeous, but yeah, there's just like some nitpicky stuff that I'm just like, brings it down for me a tiny, tiny bit. So in the first episode, we bring back the photo shoot mini challenge. We have not seen this in a hot minute. This is like so reminiscent of old school Drag Race, where they would always have a photo shoot to start it off with. And I'm kind of glad that it's brought a breath of fresh air to a new season of Drag Race, especially since it's been so long since like the old school era was a thing. So I like how they brought it back, but holy shit, you're bringing this for the first episode? Like, the fact that they're literally putting these poor queens up on a spinning wheel, like they're at a circus, and you expect them to serve you face. Like, that is, like, incredible. But granted, they have had them, like, go into water tanks and jump off of high places, so maybe it's not too far-fetched, but still. Some highlights for me were definitely Cornbread being able to spin that wheel on her own. I mean, that is like pure comedy, like at its best right there. Carrie, even though the cape was a little bit all over the place, she was able to make it work. Sort of very beautiful face. Willow, I think, played up into like this like ditzy character again, which makes sense because of the outfit. And I think she was just, again, making it work. Her trying to pull down her mini skirts and show the privates was pretty funny. A lot of the queens, they made it work. They were able to try their best to serve face, even though they're on a damn spinning wheel. But I think that Carrie was definitely one of the standouts. She did have a pretty good photo at the end of the day. Really quickly, in the workroom moments, obviously a lot of the girls are saying that Miss Alyssa is going to be the trade of the season. And she's definitely very good looking out of drag. I will say that. And it's just so funny to see everyone going goo goo gaga over the trade of the season. There always has to be like at least one trade. And I know that that's up to interpretation, but it's just really funny to see them play up that stuff. So the main challenge is going to be a talent show, which is very interesting that they're bringing it into a regular season of Drag Race and not the All-Star season, but I actually don't mind it. I like how they're forcing the girls to be like, show us what you've got. This is the first day, make your impression on us. What is your talent? And it's a lot of pressure, but I really do think it puts that right type of pressure on the queens to show who they are. So we already have some different dynamics. We have Carrie, who's going to be doing jump rope. We have Cornbread, who's going to be lip syncing to her own song. So that one is okay. We have Joon doing African dance. Bosco doing burlesque. Willow is doing this kind of like, I want to say it's like an interpretive dance type of a vibe. I don't know if that's quite the way to describe it. Orion is planning to do like a one woman type of a comedy shtick. Alyssa is going to do a lip sync while also playing the guitar. I mean, that is bold. I will say that's very, very bold of you to do that, but also what we soon find out, she wasn't actually playing guitar at all. So first up, we had Miss Joon Jambalaya. I actually think this was cool. You're bringing in culture to your drag, which I think makes it stand out even more. However, I do agree with pretty much everybody, and I was watching that premiere episode in a club with a bunch of other people. If you didn't see my vlog of the premiere of Drag Race, go check that out. But, girl, if you're having, like, some sort of a wardrobe malfunction, you work with it. Like, rip that headband off, put it around your neck, make it into a necklace, and just kind of go with it. Don't worry about not seeing where you're going, just kind of know your space and work with it. Personally, I didn't have a huge problem with the undergarment. I kind of am more forgiving when it's dance, just for the fact that sometimes you have to wear certain clothing when you're doing dance performing. And I've lived through that through experience. So I didn't quite mind the undergarment being darker, but I can see where that would be a nitpicky detail. So it was good, but it definitely had its flaws. Next up is Bosco with Burlesque. Now, we have seen Burlesque many times throughout the history of Drag Race. This was a lot more simplistic than how we have seen it in the past, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I love the incorporation of picking the petals off of her body. That just added another just kind of like simplistic but also very glam and campy vibe, which is what Burlesque is really all about. I have to admit, with that hair and the undergarment that was shown after, so much like Marilyn Monroe, giving major Marilyn Monroe vibes, which I absolutely adore. I love old Hollywood glam, I love it. So I think that was a cool thing to play. And you're gonna add a little bit of humor with adding the rose petal between the butt cheeks. So I think it was a lot of fun, very cute. Was it the best Burlesque we've seen on the show? Probably not when you're up against Roxy Andrews and Benda La Creme, but for what it was good. I liked it. It was fun. Now we come to Miss Alyssa Hunter. Girl, again, you can't say that you're playing guitar and not have that guitar hooked up to an amp. You're obviously air guitaring, which to some people that is a talent, especially if you're in Wayne's World. But in Drag Race, nuh-uh. It's not a talent. It's just a glorified lip sync, which doing lip syncs in general on a talent show of drag queens is just kind of basic. So I wasn't too enthralled with it. She looked great and she gave into that rock energy. But again, you promised something and we got the half-assed version. So was not a big fan of Alyssa's talent show. Next up, Carrie Colby. Again, this was a performance that I think was great but had its flaws. This one though was more of, it was really slow building. It took a lot for us to get to the jump rope part of the talent show, which is what you're supposed to be showing off. So why is half of it not doing your talent? I think if she had come out with the jump rope as a necklace or as a belt, that would have probably been better. And I do agree that it is difficult to see the jump rope on TV. Probably in person, it was better to see, but as a viewer watching this on an HD camera, could probably have done a darker rope or maybe a light up jump rope. I know those do exist. So, you know, again, it was great. By the end of it, I loved it because she obviously does know how to jump rope. I can't do like any of that shit she pulled, but it just took some time to get there, which I kind of wish it hadn't. So good, but again, had its flaws. Next up is Orion Story. Oh, good God. That was so awkward to watch in person. And again, I watched this in a club with other people, and it was just like, what is happening? The other thing as well was that we were watching this with Crystal Method in the room, who won the one-person comedy challenge in her season with this similar bit of, oh, you're a fitness instructor who's teaching this to a class of fellow workouters. It's like, really? You had the audacity to try to pull that off when you know someone else had done it not that far before you? It was just so glaringly obvious that this was not prepped very well. she had excuses as to why it wasn't as prepared as it should have been. But girl, if you're not prepared, don't do it, because it's gonna look bad. It's gonna look half-assed. It's not good for you to do that. So I was just like, so like frustrated being that you know that this was not ready to show on national television. So why bother? I guess if anything, it's gonna help her to kind of go down, like it's part of her legacy, I guess, and she can make that work for her. But I was just so like, don't do it if you're not prepared. So we needed a lot of energy back into the room again. So next up is Cornbread. And this I loved. This was great. This was obviously Cornbread playing to her strengths as a performer. And it is more than just a lip sync. It is to her own song. So again, that is a lot more of a pass. Yes, it's just doing a generic, not a generic, but it's doing just a lip sync. So it's not too crazy compared to African dance or burlesque or something like that. But if it works, it works. I loved her energy. All of her, like her little, like all of her little movements like that were hilarious. The bitch had earrings on her pants. All those hoop earrings on her jean shorts was one of the best things I've ever seen. Like, I love that. Like, I honestly wanted to like go home and try it myself. It was just so cute to look at. All the details to the missing Meryl Ginsburg. It was just so right. It was just so right. And I loved every second of it. And finally, we get to Willow Pill. And I was so hesitant when she came out. But the minute that song started to play, I was dead. Most of us in the audience were just dead. We were like, okay, we're on board already. This is going to be interesting. And just the tossing of the food and the wine into the bath, her shoving her face with spaghetti, the bit of her almost putting the toaster in the tub. Like, that, all of that was incredible. Like, literally, I was like just cracking up laughing because it was uncomfortable, but it was like a comedic uncomfortableness that, you know, is very hit or miss to do. And I think because of her humor, it totally worked. And she really sold it. It was also kind of sexy because she was in a very sexy getup. But I was living for everything. Like, I would probably say that was like my favorite performance, just because it was not what I expected. It made me laugh. It had some essence of glam inspired into it. Like, it was just like, mwah, like pure perfection when it comes to performance. So next up, let us talk about the Runway, which is signature drag. First up, Joon Jambalaya. Joon, I liked it from the waist up. The bottom, not so much. First off, why is it a capri cut pant? Why are you wearing a capri cut pant on what's supposed to be a full bodysuit? No, ma'am. Just this episode alone, I've had a lot of like problems with Joon's looks. Not her makeup. Her hair and her makeup are usually always on point. It's just her choices in fashion that is just bothering me a little bit. And it's something she's gonna need to look into more if she's gonna make it through the competition, because she's gonna keep getting red for small little mistakes. Like tonight, a capri cut pant. That's not flattering, again, for your body shape. That you have a dark undergarment on with a pretty much a see-through bodysuit, or like a skin-toned bodysuit. It's just meh. I think would have made it better is if it were like a boot, possibly, to cover up that extra skin on the leg, or just make it not a capri cut. I'm just still shocked that it's a capri cut pant look. Like, capri cut pants don't look flattering on really anybody. Like, barely anybody can make that shit work. So it's like, no, do not do that. No. It was great from the waist up. The shoulders, this is how you do shoulders. If you are going to hide your big shoulders, you pull off the Joan Crawford and just make those shoulders bigger, because that's what she did a lot of her career, because she too had broad shoulders. You need to hide it or exaggerate it. You can't do anything in between like how she did it in the entrance look. So she did a smart move there by putting the big poofs on the shoulders and then have the flowiness in the arms. That all worked. But again, those pants, those bottoms, I can't with that. No, no, no. Next up is Bosco. I liked it, but we better not see any more horns for the rest of the season, Bosco. Like, it's a one and done, and if you make it to the final four and do signature drag again, then you can bring back the horns, because that's what Sasha Velour did. But you do not do horns ever again this season, because you've done it twice. We need to take a break from the horns. But other than that, it looks great. It looks great on her body. I love a good sparkle, dark, kind of an aesthetic. I love how there's horns on the boobs. It makes it more interesting than just horns on the head. She knows fashion, and she also does know how to kind of play up the campiness, which again, I like. So I'm very looking forward to seeing more of her fashion, but no more horns. Next up is Alyssa Hunter. This looks expensive. This looks great. Giving you ostrich feather down, My Fair Lady vibe. That looks fantastic. Looks great. The only thing that bothered me, again, was the highlight. The highlight looked very, very heavy. And when you have stage lights on camera, it's gonna make your highlight look almost white instead of looking like just a slightly lighter version of your skin tone. So that is something that I would advise for her to like blend it a little bit more, do a slight tinted highlighter than she was normally using. So that's the only thing, but literally everything else looks fabulous. The hat, I love. I want that hat. It looked so great. And it added movement to the look, which I think is always great. And when you're paying homage to a classic, My Fair Lady, that always gives you a little bit of a heads up in my book. Next up is Carrie Colby. I like it, but I kind of wished she had like taken like one side of the jacket completely off. That way we could see more of the bod, because we do see a glimpse of it because she opened it up. But because that coat is so heavy and so overbearing, it just makes it look so weighed down. Not to mention also her hair is covering quite a bit of the body as well, that I really wanted her to just take one part of the coat off. Show us that awesome bod of yours and show us the cool like branding you've done with all the K's across your body. And so it's cute, but I kind of just wish she had modeled it a little bit differently than what she had. Next up is Orion Story. What the hell am I looking at? I don't get this. I don't get it. I don't understand the top shawl. I don't understand why there had to be 3 nipples. Why are you covered in little bouts of cotton? The makeup looks off. I don't understand this at all. Like, I think she said she was going for a mushroom, but I'm just like, girl, if you're gonna do a mushroom, you need to like have it more stiff up on top. The rest of the body shouldn't be polka dot as well as the top, because that's not how mushrooms usually look. Like, go full on Mario mushroom with it. Don't just like do this weird concept that again seemed very like last minute decision, or wasn't really went all the way through with, like didn't know what they were doing there. I just don't get it. Girl, I don't get it. Moving on. Next up is Miss Cornbread. I love a big girl who's not afraid to show bod. I think that is great. I love it, fits her like a glove. I think it looks great. The only problem is that I did agree with the judges. It needed something on the head besides just the wrap. I think she should have had it like maybe a small wig or maybe a slick back ponytail. I don't know. There's just something that is missing there and it's bothering me. And I do agree with Michelle. If you don't have something that's on top of your head on a look that's very like short or very skin con, you need to like proportionize it better so it doesn't make you look like that. So I love that she embraced her look. I think it looked great on her. But there again, were just some last minute adjustments she could have made to make it even better than what it was. Finally, we have Willow Pill. I really like this look. I love how urban it is, almost like slightly 70s, 90s type of a vibe. I actually don't mind the green color. I actually like it on her. I like the way she styled it with the wig. The blue, I think, matches with it really, really well. I mean, hell, if I could, I would wear that look. I think it looks great. I can understand why Michelle doesn't like it, but again, she has a very love-hate relationship with the color green. But I think it looks great on Willow. She sold it. I loved it. I love the color combo. Willow to me was just like such like a ray of sunshine. Like I loved Willow throughout this entire episode. So going through all the critiques, we have Cornbread as the first winner of the season. I do think it was deserved. I do think that she did do a good job. I probably myself would have given it to Willow because she surprised me so much. But I do agree that Cornbread did a really great job in her performance and her runway was good. So I do think it was the right call to make. And our bottom two, Miss Joon Jambalaya and Orion Story. I partly kind of wanted Alyssa to be in the bottom just because she didn't deliver on what she promised. But you have to admit that her runway was just so spectacular that it probably was the thing that saved her from the bottom. And then the lip sync, I'm so sorry, but I can never hear that Lizzo song without thinking of Walmart at Christmas commercials because they overplayed the hell out of that song during Christmas, during Walmart ads. I do think that Joon did the best job of the lip sync. I think Orion's problem was that she didn't incorporate the stage enough. I think there was a lot of moments of her just kind of standing in one spot. And that can be a good thing, but given this is an up-tempo, up-energy type of a song, just take up all that stage. Take it all up. And that's what Joon was doing. Taking up all of that stage, you know, really strutting her stuff and embracing the song. That's what you're supposed to do. And I don't think Orion did that. So the fact that Joon was safe was not a big surprise to me. So we did have to see our first queen go home, and that was Orion Story. I kind of am not shocked that she was this early out because I didn't know precisely from any of her interviews like what she was really going to bring to the table. I didn't feel like I was getting to like the core of her being enough. So that's why I was like, I don't know if she's going to really bring it to the competition as much as she thinks she is. I think she's beautiful, and she is obviously here because she's a great, talented queen. But I don't know if it was enough for her to go all the way in the competition. So that is basically it for episode 1. Now let's move on to the second premiere. So again, we're going to quickly go through the promo looks, the entrance looks, and then finally to the talent show, plus the runway and the lip sync. So first off, we have Angeria Paris Van Michels, a very long drag name. Holy shit. So I'm just going to call her Angie because she's fine with that. So Miss Angie, what do I think? I love this. I think this is like giving me fire. It's giving me just like real pageant vibes, which she is a pageant girl. She's from Atlanta. Totally makes sense. I just really like this. I do like how that back piece around the hips is adding just like this extra bout of volume and shape. And it's helping to kind of make her shoulders look smaller, to make her look more petite, more smaller frame, which is usually good. So I do enjoy this. I really like this. Next up, hometown girl from Springfield, Missouri, Miss Daya Betty. I will say this is a lot. This is a lot for a promo look, but honestly, go big or go home with your promo look. Make it interesting, because sometimes the promo looks can be kind of forgettable. I like this a lot. I think this definitely plays into Daya's aesthetic of almost being punk. She doesn't really like doing necessarily super glam, although she can do glam very well. I've seen her live enough times to know she does do glam very, very well. But she loves having fun. She loves being that punk rocker chick, and I adore that. I love the hair. It's just very Daya. It is very Daya. I do understand people who were saying that it is very similar to Acid Betty, but I think it's Dia enough. I think it's away from Acid Betty enough to make it her own. Next up, we have Deja Skye. This looks great. This is fabulous. Again, I'm sorry I'm harping on Joon about the shoulder thing, but this is how you do a way to hide your big-sized shoulders. Exaggerate the hell out of them, and probably no better way to do that than a big poof shoulder. I love this. It's, again, campy, but also it is pretty glam. It's a lot of fun. I love the creativeness of the hair. It does remind me a little bit of Cornbread's promo hair, but I really love it. I love the big bow in the back. I love the hair. I love the color. This is great. This is a great promo look. Next up is Jasmine Kennedy. Not a big fan of this look. I do not like the bottom half of this dress. I think those strips of almost tie-dye fabric look so much like an afterthought or an after application to this dress. It did not need it. Granted, if it didn't have it, it would just be a plain like sparkle mini dress, which would not have really impressed me at all either. I think you could have used that fabric to make like a wrapped cape, possibly. So I just don't like the fact how it's just like tacked onto the bottom of that dress. So not quite my favorite. Next up, we have Georges, our little petite Latina. I like this look except for the pom-pom. I think she knows, again, how to work her body. She doesn't look too tiny, and that's really important if you are as small as you are to not make yourself look shorter. I love the big, like, poofs on the back of the outfit. It is just a corset and a pair of panties, but I think for a promo look, I'm willing to forgive that. I do actually like the addition of the leg pieces here. I think, again, it kind of helps in a way to add more dimension to the look, or it would have just looked very plain. Arguably, it could chop her leg up a little bit and make her look shorter. I personally, right now, don't see a big problem with that. It looks great, except I just don't like the pom-pom. And it is a little bit on the safer end of fashion choices, but it's not a bad look. Next up is Lady Camden, originally from England, but is coming to us from Sacramento. I like this. I like it. I'm a sucker for a good blazer look, and I like it on drag queens just as much as I like it on myself. So I like it. I kind of like how it's like Willy Wonka, Mad Hatter type of a vibe. I love the addition of the cane with the little mustache. It's almost like a reference to, hey, we're doing like Candyland, so I'm giving you Monopoly board game vibes. So I really enjoy this. I think it makes me more interested in what her drag is, because this is giving me very like androgynous. So are we going to see more of it, or are we going to see more of a feminine approach besides this promo look? A controversial figure, but also a fellow Midwesterner from Fayetteville, Arkansas, we have Maddie Morphisus, who is our first cisgendered straight drag queen, which is really, in my opinion, really, really cool. I really love what Maddie is bringing to the show, and I can't wait to see more of her. But from this promo look, I really enjoy it. The only thing that bothers me a tiny bit is that corset that is brown. I kind of wish it were gold, or it could be pink to kind of make it look like your skin. But other than that, I love it. I love the jacket with the big exaggerated collar. I think it's bold of her to not go with hair. The bottom part I really enjoy. I love the half gloves. I just think overall this is a great look, and I'm just so fascinated to see what Maddie is going to bring this season. So now we're going to go on to the entrance looks. First up, we have Georges. Georges, I think, really knows how to tailor her body. I think she knows I can't do certain looks because it's going to make me look short. So I think showing off those long legs and having nothing really on top, it's just mostly a centerpiece plus the gloves, I think that works great. Adding more length with the hair, I think, is a great addition as well. I think Georges looks great. Great way to enter the workroom. It's simplistic, but it does show us who you are. That is the whole point of the entrance look. Next up, for entrance looks, we have Deja Skye. I don't hate it, but I'm not in love with it. The only reason being is that I don't like that off-white mesh fabric. I think if it were like just more of a bolder white color for that top, or if it was just a normal like skin tone mesh fabric, it would work a lot better. However, I do like the pink polka dots. I do like the hair. She is saying that she's the pastel queen, which, if that's what she's going off of, totally makes sense. And I love that she's, you know, kind of showing off her curves and swerves, also showing the long legs. I do like that. So, tiny little just nitpicky issue with the mesh fabric, but other than that, she looks great. Here comes Miss Maddie Morphisus, giving us Guy Fieri realness. How perfect is this? Because arguably, Guy Fieri is like probably the most like straight you could possibly imagine. Like there are like straight people, like hardcore straight people. And Guy Fieri, I think, represents that pretty much in a nutshell. So the fact that a cisgendered straight drag queen is dressing like a Guy Fieri, I just think that's like so perfection. I think Maddie and Willow, I think they walked in being like, I want to be like the funny, but also wanting to be like kind of fashion forward. I love that so much. I mean, literally, just everything about this is fantastic. Again, I probably would just nitpick a tiny thing about the tights. Do they need to be that white? But other than that, I can't get over like how genius it is to dress like Guy freaking Fieri as your entrance look on Drag Race. Coming up next is Jasmine Kennedy. This is very much kind of like showgirl. I could see this being slightly pageant experience, but I think it is very beautiful. I love the hair. I like the combination of like the beige and the pink. I don't know if I love the feathers. I think if it were like not a chicken feather, I think it probably would flow a little bit better, but I do like it. It's very much a dancer's look, and she is a dancer, so it, again, makes total sense, but I think for the assignment of showing off a look that represents you, I think that that worked definitely here for Miss Kennedy. Next up, we have Angie. This look is really, really cute. Like, this is a look I would see, like, on a doll. Like, this is something you would see, like, on a Barbie doll, on an American Girl doll. It's so cute, so just fun and flirty. Really enjoy it. The mix of the black polka dot fabric with the red, I really just think it's just so cute. It's so well executed, which, again, being that she's a pageant girl, I would expect nothing less. The only slightly, again, another nitpicky thing is that the hair, there were some strands that I could see kind of coming out of their place a little bit. And I know that you're moving around a lot, you're gonna be in that look for quite a lot of the day, so, you know, but being that you are aware of that, I would say you probably should have sprayed a little bit more hairspray to make sure that that didn't come out of place. But other than that, this is adorable. Bringing you Spice Girl realness, we have got Lady Camden. Truly, like, 90s, early 2000s that I probably have ever seen. Being creative with the candy necklace bra, I think it's a lot. It's a lot to go on, and I know that the 90s and the early 2000s, there was a period where just, like, manic fashion was a big, big thing. The pastel colors were very like late 90s, early 2000s for sure. But there is something a tad off. I can't explain what. It could be the size of the bra's too big. The bottom is a little like a wrap around the waist kind of a thing happening there. I'm not entirely sure. There is something off. I can't pinpoint it. But I think the overall look is a really cute concept, and that is what I really enjoy. And finally, the 14th queen, hometown girl, Diabetti. Love this look. This is so Daya. This is Daya in a nutshell. Again, it's that punk rock vibe, but it is also slightly glam. It is very glam with the makeup, which is, again, very much a little bit softer, more of like the smokier eye, the more like narrow lip, which is very much like a play on, again, kind of like that pinup style, glamorous type of a look, but I think she makes a totally rock ass. The outfit is great. Again, doing like this kind of bolero type of effect really adds just extra dimension to the look. Love the gloves, love the shoes, love the hair. I can't remember if she did that hair herself. I do know that Daya does a lot of her own wigs because she did work at a salon at one point, so she has a lot of knowledge when it comes to styling of hair. I don't know if she did that hair herself, but I love it. It's so punk. It's so just badass. I mean, I really can't fault this. This is just a really great look for Daya. So we have another photo shoot, this time paying homage to another classic of Drag Race, and that is the orange Tic Tacs. First with Deja Skye starting off with just posing with a tiny little bowl of Tic Tacs, and all of a sudden Ru is like, no, we need more Tic Tacs! And all of a sudden just a giant, like, tub of just orange Tic Tacs. Like, I've never seen that many Tic Tacs in one place before. That is so crazy. And they have to pose in this weird concoction of both Tic Tacs and the pit crew and the lighting. Is just, it's a lot. But it's a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed it. Daya, I love you, but I don't know if you could not make it work with the Tic Tacs, because I wanted you so badly just to kind of like sink, and I know you're a tall girl, so maybe it was a little harder for you to do, but like to dig yourself into those Tic Tacs and like kind of like bow your back and like really head up toward the light. I will say though, there were a lot of queens who could not find out where their headlight was. They couldn't find where the main light was, and that was a little annoying at some points. I will admit, Daya, you did have a lot of fun with it, and I could see that, so kudos to you on that, but I kind of wish you would just maybe had like just like lie there a little bit more to just like for lack of a better word, look pretty. I think Angie did a really good job of being able to just like really shape her body to make it look extra long and extra like glamorous, even though she's in a pool of Tic Tacs. I mean, come on, Miss Georges, with that little back arch. You know, there were some people looking at back arch and being like, oh, I wish I can get some of that. Or some of us who wish we could do that. Maddie, I don't know how comfortable Maddie is doing these types of photo shoots. I don't know if she knew really how to pose per se. I will admit though, she did do the right call when they found Santino's hat in the Tic Tacs, that the minute she found that, she like plopped it on her head, started posing with it. That's the correct thing to do there. Loved that. So other than that, it was an okay photo shoot. It looked like a lot of fun, but I could only imagine how the girls felt after de-dragging, trying to find like Tic Tacs in like every orifice you could find. But Angie won. I do agree. I do think she had a really great photo and she knew how to work with the environment. She knew what to do. And that is the reason why she won, and I do agree with that. Part of this whole premiere is definitely talking about Maddie being straight. And Maddie, I don't think, wants to make it a big deal. It really shouldn't be, especially in an environment where people don't want to necessarily be like being judged because they're gay. But obviously, Maddie doesn't want that to take over her whole presence in the competition. She wants to be there to represent who Maddie Morphisus is. So Daya, because Daya and Maddie come from the same area, they know each other, and Daya does know that Maddie is straight. I like how Daya didn't showcase anything, kept it to herself. I think that was very respectful of her to do that. But RuPaul, you coming in doing your walkthroughs and just immediately being like, oh, so what's it feel like to be the first like cis straight person to be on Drag Race? Like, Ru, you're a producer of this show. You run this show. You should have known that she wanted to keep this kind of to herself for some time. So I felt a little uncomfortable with that whole exchange, because it's the same thing as like, the same way someone doesn't want to be outed for being gay, you shouldn't out somebody because they're straight. Honestly, you shouldn't out anyone for whatever sexuality that they are. That should be the person's choice to disclose that or not. So I didn't quite enjoy that. But I do think, now that it is open, it does also help other queens in the room, and also just people watching, that really, we are here to showcase talent. We are here to represent ourselves as drag queens. That is all we're here to do. And if, me being straight and being a drag queen opens up some people's eyes, so be it, but I'm here to showcase me. That is the whole reason why this is gonna be interesting to watch later on, and also it's gonna be interesting to see the audience reacting to this as well. On to the talent show. First up is Jorgeous with a lip sync. I don't know why, again, what I argued about in the earlier half of this review was that why are you choosing to do a lip sync? I know that's what you do as a drag queen, but can't you do other things? I think with Jorgeous, what helps is that she is a dancer. So when she is doing her talent, she is also doing dancing, which is what she's known for. And she did rock it. She looked really sexy, almost kind of giving me like young Christina Aguilera vibes. And I do love the look, very danceable. She knew how to rock the dance moves. I just didn't want her to call it a lip sync. It's you doing a dance number. That is what it should have been called, not you doing a lip sync. So nitpicky detail, but she did serve it. So I'll give it to her for that. Next up, Jasmine Kennedy, again doing a lip sync dance number. This is the reason why the second episode talent show was a little underwhelming, because a lot of it was just kind of the same. It kind of just felt like you were at a drag show. And there's nothing wrong with that, but when you're on RuPaul's Drag Race and it's a talent competition, you gotta mix it up a bit. Be you, but don't just do plain stuff. Having said that, Jasmine is a dancer. She did serve it. She really rocked it, doing the splits and the back bends. She was being a great dance performer. So again, it was a good performance, but I'm just at the point where I'm like, why are we just doing lip sync dance numbers? Next up, Daya Betty, and another lip sync. Daya, you know I love you, and I think you are a great lip sync artist. However, why would you choose to do this on Drag Race? Girl, you worked at a salon. Do like a wig transformation. If you're gonna do lip sync, like do multiple wig changes if you're like a wig girl. I think it was cute with the hat revealing the smaller hat. I do think the whole, confetti coming out was great. The balloon was cute and funny, but again, you could have done so much more with it. This would have been great if we saw this here in Springfield, or if it was at any other drag show. It would have looked great, and we would have had fun. But being that it's on Drag Race, we expect a lot higher, and I just did not think that that was the best option for you to do. I love you, Daya. You know I do, but you gave me permission to be honest with you. This was not a good move for you to make. Next up is Lady Camden doing kind of a mix between ballet and hip hop. This is more along the lines I was going with. It's dance. You do dance as a drag queen, but it's incorporating something different. It's ballet. Also, her doing those jeté spins in those heels, that is impressive, because I could barely do that in guard with, regular like dance shoes or socks on. It's not easy. So her doing it in those heels, like, props to you, because that is impressive. I just loved how she made it her own. It's her own style of dance. It's different than what the other dancers had done. I think she was able to make it a unique talent, and that is what we are here to watch. So Lady Camden, you got my vote for the most unique dance of this bunch. Next up, Deja Skye in a cheer comedy routine. The idea is cute. The idea could have been really good, and I did laugh at it. I really did, but it just wasn't like enough of an energy. It wasn't like, it was a tad flat. But it could have been so good, and maybe that's the reason why I'm harshing on it a little much here. Deja could have really brought it up if she is like a really good comedy queen, in which we haven't really seen a lot of that so far. I just wanted to see more. That's my only thing with it. But the idea is really cute, and totally this could work if you just, again, like Orion, just went further with it, gave it a little bit more prep time. Next up is Maddie Morphisus, and she is actually playing the guitar. So take lessons, Miss Alyssa Hunter, but this is how you play the guitar. So cool that she is playing the guitar on Drag Race. I think it's really, really cool. Was it a little slow? Yes, but again, it's a talent, so I'm gonna give her credit for that. Also, her pulling a Hendrix and like playing it with her teeth or her tongue, like, that's impressive. Because I know a lot of guitar players. I don't know really any of them who could do that. So props to her on that. I do wish that, again, what the judges had said about her maybe turning a bit to the side so we could see the tongue action would have been the better choice. So as impressive as it was, there were some flaws in the performance. But overall, the talent was good, wasn't bad. Next up is Angeria, doing something similar to what Cornbread had done, doing an original song, but a lip sync version. This was fun. This was, again, very fun. Probably, again, another simpler thing for you to do, but it is a one step up above a normal lip sync, so I'll give her that. Also, she did incorporate some performance and danceability, which is very nice. I will say, though, girl, you should have kept that first wig on. That reveal to just a shortened hair, it just did not look as cute. Like, if you had done like a shorter blue hair, I think that would have made more sense. But the fact it looked like almost like your natural hair, like that I had a problem with. You just went from this beautiful ombre, big hair, blue hair, love that. But then you go to the shorter hair and I'm like, oh, you lost me a little bit there. And some people don't have as big of a problem with that. But if you're going to do a wig reveal, you need to have that second wig like blow us out of the water, or it's just going to look meh. So that was it for the talent show. Now it is time to go on to the runway. Again, we are doing signature drag. First up is Jorgeous. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I love that color on her. She has just really great skin to really rock any color she could possibly pick. I do like the reveal of just the cat suit. I like how it's like that almost illusion skin tone. And what I mean by that is it's not skin tone. It's not like just a sheer bodysuit. It's like off color. So it looks like it's a bodysuit, but it's also like a sheer. I don't know. It's really weird to explain. I just really enjoy it. That detailing is fabulous. The stoning, just really, whoever made that look for her did a really great job because it looks absolutely fabulous on Miss Jorgeous. Next up is Deja Skye. Editing needed to be applied here. I don't necessarily mind the headpiece or the shawl. I have a problem with the attached fabric on the bottom. That did not need to be there, at least not in my opinion. I think it would have added more to the eleganza effect if that fabric had not been there. Let that fabric, that blue fabric, come from the headpiece, come from the shawl, and if you want to have blue in your makeup, that'll tie it all together. But that dress should only have been that really beautiful black lace, and that would have just showcased her body a lot more to me than adding that blue fabric onto the bottom as well. It made it look a little clunky on the bottom, and no one wants clunky bottoms. So not my favorite. It's probably the worst outfit of this group to me. Next up is Jasmine. Very old school, very classic drag. I mean, if you're gonna do pageantry, like this is pageant in a nutshell, pretty much. I will say the back mesh was a little ill-fitted, I will say that. Again, a very nitpicky deal. Also, was it just me or was there something off with that chest piece? That boob plate she had on, like, I don't know why, but in certain angles, it looked like obvious that it was a breastplate. And then there were other shots where it looked fine. So my brain was like nitpicking, like, what is up with this breastplate? Why does it look weird to me? Someone maybe needs to explain to me in the comments, because I'm like, I don't understand why it's throwing my eye off as much as it is, but it is. But other than that, because it might just be me, she looks absolutely beautiful, pageantry at its finest, so a very good job. Next up, Maddie Morphisus. This look is incredible. I love this. This is bringing theatrics to the runway, and I live for theatrics. I love it. This is something we have never seen on the show before, which I think is very creative. I will say it is not great that she decided to walk in flats, but I will slightly forgive it for the fact that it kind of matches the overall look, because I couldn't expect someone to wear flats like that in this time period. But honestly, everything else above just looks so good. I love the campiness of it all. And I know a normal drag queen would absolutely read her to filth for the fact she wore flats. But honestly, I'm just living for the overall effect that I kind of am just going to ignore the shoe. Because it's so cool. It's so cool. Stuff like this is just making me so excited to see what Maddie is going to bring into future runways, because I'm just so excited to see what she brings here. Next up is Angeria, looking drop dead gorgeous in this beautiful red wine color look. This is fitted to her body. This is just pure, just elegance at its finest. This is drag. This is drag, honey. This looks fantastic. I mean, I literally have nothing else to say other than it just looks so, so fabulous. So, so good. Oh, just, so yummy and delicious, so good. Next up, Lady Camden. I get what she was going for, but I think it kind of looks like something that I would throw together for a drag show, and I am creative, but I'm not always the best at execution when it comes to my drag looks whenever I go out to the club. I think it's cute how she wanted to be a peacock, but there's just some tiny nitpicky things, like the jacket is not fitting the best on the chest. The shoes are a little weird. I would have preferred to have it be a white shoe, maybe add feathers on it to bring home that it's a peacock. But I don't know. It's cute, but it's not like hitting me in the way that it should be, given that she's got freaking peacock feathers on her back. It looks great. You know, the whole idea is fantastic, but there's just some execution stuff that just is not hitting it for me. I don't know. And then finally, we have Diabetti. I think this is very, very cute. I kind of wish that she could have... I have seen Dia look really glam and put together, but still kind of just be Dia. There was one time I saw her, and I think actually I did put it in one of my vlogs of her performing, and she was like in this like almost 1940s inspired pin suit, and she looked so glam in that. I kind of wish she had gone that route. I think this looks cute, and I think it looks great. I love the hair, I love the makeup. The idea of doing like lacing as the main theme of your dress is great. I will admit I did not notice that tear in the back, but I do think that because this is so bodycon, that's kind of flirting with disaster a little bit when it comes to rippage in your clothing. But I do think this is cute. I kind of just wish, because I know Dia and I've seen her in other looks, I kind of just wanted her to push it a little bit more. That's my expectation, so Dia, if you see this, maybe you don't want to read into this too much, but I do think you look adorable, so I do enjoy this look a lot. Also, wear that hair more, because I've never seen you wear that hair, and it looks fantastic. I love that hair on you. And now we get to the judging. Our winner is Miss Angeria. I do agree that Angeria did a really great job in the performance, as well as just looking absolutely incredible on the runway. So I do agree with Angeria winning. And our bottom two, Deja Skye and Diabetti. I was so heartbroken because I'm like, I know that Dia is such a talented girl and I love her to pieces. So I was just so heartbroken to see her in the bottom two. but they each did a really good performance of Fallen by Alicia Keys. This is just it's just a really difficult lip sync song to do because it's just not, I guess, the stereotypical lip sync song that a queen would do. But I do think they both sold it really, really well. First off though, Daya, you really scared me when you started scratching up your shoulder. I really thought you were doing that to yourself, and that freaked me out. But I think they both did a really good job with the song that was given to them. But Deja was the one who was chosen to stay, and Daya had to go home. Oh, it broke my heart so much to see Daya leave so soon. Obviously, I'm biased. I love Daya, and I've seen her do amazing things on stage, and she's just a great person in general. It just broke my heart so much to see her go. But I do know that for you to be on Drag Race at all is a big, big honor. And I know that people now know who she is, and it just really warms my heart that people are seeing queens that I have been seeing for many years and see how great they are. Because truly, drag can be great anywhere. And we've seen a lot of queens who have really lived up to that. And Daya, to me, is no different. She is from Springfield. We are kind of like a big, small town here. But there is a lot of just great talent and great creative energy here. It's hard to find, believe me, but it is there. So I'm glad that queens like Daya, who come from these smaller towns, and, you know, there's other queens in the past as well, I won't name them all, but, you know, all these queens that come from smaller towns, for them to be on a big stage like Drag Race, I see nothing but great things in Daya's future. I love you, girl. You know I do. So as hard as it was to see you leave, I'm so proud of you, and I'm just really excited that I have gotten the chance to see you live and to experience the Daya Betty experience. So again, I'm just very, very proud of you. And we all here in the drag and LGBTQ plus community here in Springfield, we love you and we're very proud of you as well. But that is it for both of these reviews. Holy shit, we had a lot to go through. So I do enjoy the concept of having two premieres and they each have their own eliminations, very season 6. I'm glad it wasn't like last year's, because holy crap did I have so many critiques about last year's. But this, I think, is good. There's going to be a lot of craziness in the future, so that's going to be interesting to see. But I'm so excited to have Drag Race back on my screens, and I will be doing reviews for the rest of the season. I hopefully will be able to have these on time. We shall see. But until then, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me comments down below. What were your favorite moments from both of the premieres? Who are you looking forward to seeing more of in the future? And who do you think is going to be our next drag superstar? Leave me those comments because I would love to read them. And if you want to see my future videos or videos I've already done, go ahead, hit subscribe and hit the little bell icon so you can be notified when my videos come out. That's all I have for you all today. And until the next video, bye! Mwah!